a great public forum speaker. And so I would do what you want to do, and then I'll just make sure we leave some time for questions.
Yeah,
But
of
specifically,
course.
the interesting piece is like something we've been talking about this week is hitting the ground running in college, as opposed to, well, now I'm here, let me figure this out before I figure out what I want to do. Like you mentioned cultural immersion, so that must have played a role too. But
Yeah,
yeah.
most
So let
definitely. That'd be good to talk about. Anyways, yeah, would you like me to start or do you want to wait a little bit?
No, I think that we're good to start because we have like 25 minutes left. And again, glad everyone is here. Again, we're so glad to have Bennett Gilhuly here, who graduated from University School last year. He's zooming with us live from Georgetown, and we appreciate your finding some time in the middle of the day to speak with us about your time at Georgetown and your time at USL. You're on.
Yeah, there's some fun people, familiar people in this conversation, which is great. For those who don't know me, I'm Bennett Gilhuly. I started at USL in sixth grade, all the way through 12th. Um, I'm a current first year at Georgetown University in the College of Arts and Sciences, double majoring in English and government with a minor in tech ethics and society, which I will get into a little bit later. Um, I guess I want to start with uh, my time at USL and how that's kind of shaped me going into Georgetown. I see a lot of similarities in my daily life here that I've learned at school that a lot of other people don't have as much, especially with cultural immersion. I feel like a lot of people have artificial cultural immersion and it's like kind of forced, whereas like at school we've actually have like been to these places. We've been to like I don't know, I like over 30 houses of worship during my time at school, which is like really incredible because that makes me comfortable for going to Shabbat with my friends, going to a Muslim prayer on a Friday night with my friends, right? And I'm not particularly religious, but I've learned to um, be very much like part of the religious culture on campus, which is derived from school, derived from being at USL, which is really important. Especially World Language Day tomorrow, I think is very cool because um, everybody is required to take a language, unless you're in the business school, but everybody's required to take a language up to an intermediate level. And so I am still in Spanish, and this will be my last year, but it it you it really sets you up to understand people and it really is translated into just being able to talk to people, understand people, etc. A lot of the values USL holds that might not even necessarily need to talk about because it's part of our daily life. By Ashland. Uh, so what else? Okay, I guess field trips as well, right? Just being able to go see the world, be comfortable, talking to people, shaking people's hands, saying thank you, just like these little things that people have here for sure, and it's very noticeable, but some people don't. And it, I wouldn't necessarily say it bothers me, but like I do notice like the small things that a lot of people don't do to build relationships that we have learned at school. Um, Going visiting colleges and taking college classes has been a huge step. I know a lot of people that taking APs and talk about A push and AP Lit and all that. And although it's been helpful for them, I guess maybe on paper, where they like my friends have like 27 credits they can fill, but they also still have to take a lot of required classes. Whereas me taking college policy classes, I have to explain to them that like I was actually there. Like it was like on my own volition, wasn't a college professor coming to my school, right? It was like I was actually in college for 2 years before coming here, and that really formulated a comfortability that I was able to have here. Um, I was fortunate enough to be able to take 13 credit hours my first semester because I had 12 credits that transferred over. Um, Georgetown's a little weird. They only allow 4 college credit, like college classes to come over. But any other university will allow all the courses that translate over to their school. And those credits actually were able to be accredited towards my major. And that's why I'm afforded to double major and minor in an area will hopefully working an internship slash job next semester. Is there anything you would like me to touch about while being at, so like just running my mind, like while being at school that it might be important to talk about before I talk about what I'm doing this semester? No? Okay. On to this semester. So I guess coming to school, I've been very fortunate. Um, I don't think I guess I'm unique in the sense where I was able to get, not get, but I was able to have a friend group and friends very early on. Um, which is really, really helpful. My roommate, Noah, we hit it off instantly. We're really close. I would say best friends. We're in the same friend circles. We know mostly the same people, but we also live independent lives of each other. We are very comfortable being in the same room together, living as roommates and living as just friends, right? And it's a great balance, and I'm very fortunate for that. Um, Involvements on campus, I would say, would be, I guess my main one would be Georgetown University politics, like the Institute of Politics and Public Service, public policy. It's within the court school, which is the public policy school, which they actually just moved their campus from the Hilltop to the Capitol campus, which is new, and they're trying to bring people over there. But so in geopolitics, I'm able to have some fun opportunities. To explore different like ideologies and politics, talk to people from different parties, et cetera. A lot like we do at USL, I feel like. I guess last semester, and there's a lot of South Carolina ties, which is very exciting. So last semester, Nikki Haley came and spoke, and since I'm from South Carolina, I was able to meet her, right, and talk to her and talk about by my opinions. Um, with her. I was able, and then Rick Wiley. So we have a geopolitics fellowship program where it's these business professional or not business, but political professionals that come each year. There's six of them, three, I guess, considered Democrats, three considered Republicans, and they really are a staple of our semester. So their function is they have a hour and a half discussion group each week in our living room, which is like an open invite place where we can come and sit, talk about politics, and go to events. And so once a week, they host a conversation off the record about just their specialty, right? And there's a whole list of the 10 weeks that they like what they're going to talk about each week, but it really just depends on what's happening. Last semester we had Rick Wiley, and Townsend Simone or Simone Sanders Townsend, who are the two notable ones. Simone Sanders Townsend now is a primetime show on MSNBC with Michael Steele, 7 to 9. She was amazing. Really just talked about the election leading up to it. Rick Wiley, he was Nikki Haley's former campaign director, so really just following the Nikki Haley campaign, what they did, and talking about the Trump campaign a lot. He lives on Daniel Island. Very cool guy. Um, this semester we have Meg Kennard, who is a national correspondent um, in the Associated Press, and so she's based out of Columbia but comes to DC. She's amazing. I've developed a really great relationship with her. We're actually going to the AP press room tomorrow. So we'll speak to all these like national correspondents and learn about journalism. And then Cecilia Kang, who is a New York Times tech reporter investigating Facebook, et cetera. And she's important to me because I'm really interested in tech, specifically tech policy, AI policy implications, ethics, morality of it. Um, Really how our decisions shape what AI does, right? It's not necessarily the technicality of it, but like human humility of it and how it's really affecting younger people is intriguing to me because a lot of people don't understand like what it does, how it works, or at least consciously. And so it's really interesting to me to discover that. Um, what else have I done? I'm part of, I guess, the College Democrats. I'm part of this club called IDEA, which is just like an interfaith dialogue for just religions. My friends founded it, so I just go to it to support. Plus, it's actually just very interesting because get to hear about people like narratives and stories about why they are religious, which is very fascinating to me. Um, what else? I'm a part of competitive club ski, which is very ironic because the qualifications to join is we don't have a mountain near us, so it's can you ski and do they like you, which is pretty funny. Um, and so we basically like go to North Carolina, et cetera, and compete. Women's went the nationals this year in Oregon. They did really well. Um, what else? We have a lot of like good campus life. Like there's so many involvements you can be a part of, and it's we have this thing called the Georgetown bubble, which is very easy to get stuck on the hilltop. Like sometimes I forget I'm in Washington, D.C., and Virginia and Maryland half the time. Like you are in such a close community of people and network that it's really hard to leave. And it honestly, I mean, sometimes it's great to go out. I love going out into the city, but you have a really close community that cares, right? We're all competitive, but we all strive for the same goal. Unlike a lot of schools that I've heard about, the culture there, um, it's very different. But at the same time, it is competitive. It's very difficult. My work schedule, like, is quite crazy. I would say I have upwards of, if I actually did all the readings, 500 to maybe even like 1,000 pages per week of just reading, which is insane. And so it's being able to manage that, being able to understand what's important, what I need to know for class, and how to just like participate in class as well. That's a big thing that I'm trying to focus on. Yeah. I don't know. Anybody have any questions? I mean, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, and so I feel like we can guide it a little bit more.
So, Bennett, one of our parents is on. She texted a question for all, but she may
Oh yeah.
feel you can either read a response.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for sharing your experience at USL and how it prepared you for Georgetown. What advice would you give to an upper school student to make use of their time at USL to get the full benefit of what USL can offer to help application pro? Okay, so offer an app. Okay, so it's
You
really
know, kind of blend in.
important
Allie,
to
help got all this.
um I do know the answer to this. I'm trying to like think about how it's the best way to say this. Like what's specific? So it's just how unique we are. I feel like it is important to like understand like all the involvements on campus are great. And being able to found your own thing or be able to create your own club is very important. Or just have initiatives like inside school, but also outside of school. Show that you're dedicated in some sort of interest you are that you want to do in school. And what they're looking for is people that are like will do good after college. And so, for example, if you're an internship for some place that you're interested in, you can show that you know how to do the work at that place. It really sets a baseline expectation that you will be a hard worker. Um, a lot of people do like model UN, a lot of people do mock trial, moot court. Um, a lot of advocacy work. And so if you can find something like that outside of school that it doesn't make you necessarily similar, but like it adds to your resume, adds to your list of accomplishments. So it's like, okay, you are able to work in this system, but at the same time, you can do something else within USL and outside of it. I think that is very important. Um, because there's so many unique different people here with unique perspectives. And I'm like, oh my, like my friend, like is part of all my friends are part of Model UN, right? Like I'm gonna join Model UN next week or next year as like a staffer for some conference because that's like how important it is to them. But you know, it just depends what you want to do. Depends on like, yeah, just like you just gotta show commitment, honestly. And I guess like there's another part of this. I just for the application process. Goodness, that was forever ago. Um, just being your authentic self. Like, how can you tell a personal narrative? Like, it's really about personal narratives, right? Like who you are as a person, and it's really like amplifying that. Maybe embellishing isn't the word. We've been using that in a lesser sense recently in my English class, but just like using as someone, this is my English major coming out, so like literary devices, like just using um, you know, really concrete ideas, but also maybe some abstract ideas to show that you are, amplify who you are, um, elaborate more on who you are, right? And it's really just finding out who you are within the like context of the school and what you want to do, if that makes sense. I think that was like a very all over the place, but I hope that answers the question. Anybody else have any questions? Anything fun? I feel like I really like talking about academics. Can talk about fun things. I guess like I'll talk about like social life here. So it's great. I'm not someone I have a really great balance of school, social life. Um, I've really discovered like building relationships with people. Um, I've really been it's really difficult to navigate like a very complex and difficult courses that I'll talk about my courses actually in a second. Especially with someone with ADHD and dyslexia. They do a great job at being inclusive here. And USL does that too. It's really like independent learning really sets you up for being able to be independent here and being able to figure things out on your own, but also like building connections with professors is really important. USL has taught me that, right? I mean, so my classes this semester are I take a lyrics class, and so that is poem lyrics of 17th century, so like Milton, George Herbert, analyzing lyrics like that, and then comparing it to pop lyrics. So like Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, Jay-Z, um, which is that's just really like a cliche college class, I feel like. But it and then I built that relationship with the professor who is actually the director of the English department. And it's just formulating these. And then I guess for my religion values and future of democracy class, I can never get the name. It's taught by E.J. Dionne. If you are familiar or not with him, he is a senior fellow at the Brookings Institute and also a opinion columnist at the Washington Post. He posts like a few times a month about just religion that's happening in America. Really interesting guy, very crazy class. I'm going to it next. Just so smart. It's crazy. Um, and yeah, like formulating these like relationships is like so big, but it's also like, finding like what makes you happy, right? I like to read, but reading consumes my entire life. So maybe I cook sometimes. I share meals with people, or I cook for people, right? I just call up my friend and like, do you just want to go in the city, do something? We go out and do it, right? Like go to the monuments at night, having fun. So it's really finding that balance as well and being able to like not just focus on school, but focus on yourself and make yourself better. So, I mean, I don't really have much more to say at the top of my head. If anybody still has any questions, Trainer, if you have anything you'd like me to touch on, happily talk about.
You've in your own journey, you've touched about a lot, which is really nice. And so that question really prompted you to think a lot of different things. There may be
Mhm.
another, and if not, I'm in a class right now, so I can share some from class.
Oh,
And I know you've got about 6 or 7 minutes left.
yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I don't,
So let's see if
yeah,
someone pops up, and if not, then I'll pull one from class.
I have a question. How
yeah.
how did you discover your area of interest?
So that's a good question. So I discovered my interest for government and political science while at USL through Joe Cunningham, just being involved in civics at school, working as a poll worker, exit polling, etc. Um, and being involved in that process, hearing from leaders. So I originally went to school thinking I would study public policy. They have a new degree here that is 2 years on this campus and then 2 years downtown on the Capitol campus. Really, it's like an extreme focus on public policy, like pipeline to becoming a Hilltop staffer, right? Or working at Deloitte. I realized I didn't really want to do that because that's like first of all. That's basically going to like two different schools. So, like I will be severed from my experience on campus. So instead, I will now planning on majoring, and I'm on track to um even like I could like do a semester, like my last senior year will be very light. I could be a part-time student, but I'll be able to major in government and English, tech ethics and society. So my English major is derived from the ways of reading class I took with this very wonderful professor, Dr. Sherry Lincoln, who really just opened my eyes to how much I love English. It really just reminded me of Miss Peck and Miss Peck's like English class, and like the same thing we did in that class, Miss Peck's class, we did in this class. And so I was like, wow, like if this is what the English major is, and because it's the intro class, then I want to major in this. And it's really helpful because English and government go very hand in hand. You need to know how to write to be in a government, and being able to just use English to empower your visions and really just formulate what you want to say, and figuratively or literally for the government, right? I think is a very powerful tool a lot of government people don't have. My tech ethics in society minor, so it all comes together. So the minor is like the philosophy behind technology, the morality, ethics. What are the implications of it in the future? Like like how do we grapple with that as a society, and how do these administration or the Biden administration and the Trump administration, how do their regulations and policy differ, and how does that like affect our policy mechanisms and levers currently? And so it all comes together as a humanities-based approach to understanding technology, which is the future. Like I've been told um, by professionals that this is the approach we want to have to the future, because computer science majors are just going to go out of fashion. AI is going to be able to write code. Like it's not going to take over, but it's like there's not going to be as much of a need for that compared to someone who understands like how to read and understand AI, humanities, the philosophy behind it, right? And that's what like Sam Altman said, the CEO of OpenAI, to Cecilia Kang, who I'm great friends with, right? That is like the trajectory of future of AI. And I think it's just very fast. I mean, I use AI in my daily life, right? I don't think anybody should have a stigma behind it, but I also think people need to be able to learn how to use it to integrate it into their daily life in order to benefit them. But also, like, you got to scrutinize AI when you use it, right? Like, you can't, like, I don't trust it at all. I always like reassure it, but it's becoming such a great and powerful tool to empower my learning and to make myself more efficient. Without it, I would be like drowning and having to spend so much more time on work unnecessary, right? I can use it to find what's very important in my work, but like at the same time, like I read books. I read books for my class, right? It's really good for like articles and understanding, like, okay, like I read this article, I might not understand it. Let me ask some questions about it, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, like, is this true? I look back and it's like I understand it, right? And so, yeah, I'm like deeply interested in that.
Thank you.
Of course.
Bennett, how are you doing for time? We're right at 30. You have time for one more?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So Bennett, you know Nick Priscandario, he's going to come up and ask a question
Yeah, for
similar to one
sure.
that came earlier, but maybe you can hit like a succinct one after you've sort of thought about it a little bit. All right, here comes Nick.
Yeah.
Um,
What's up?
so hey, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you, Nick.
Okay, so I want to ask, how do you balance work and like just personal time to do whatever?
So I never really did homework past like 6 p.m. while at USL, unless I needed to study for something very important. But like it's really just like knowing your limits, right? You don't have to like it's really about getting the work done. If you get the work done, that's what's important, right? But it's also like you need like there's some things you need to put your time into, like an essay or a paper, and then there's some things that you can. I mean, and I guess teachers will hate me for saying this, but like there's some things you just don't need to put as much time into to learn about it. And that's what's really like, especially in college, when like maybe in like high school and middle school, it's a little less amplified because it's like it is all important. Um, but it's like harder to decipher what is more important because it's about the same like amount of material across the board. But at college, like each class has different levels of how much material or reading or work they give me. And it's like being able to like determine like what's important, like what do I really need to do versus like what do I not really need to do, but I'll complete it. But it's like, I want to have time to myself and focus on myself and do what makes me happy, right? Set goals for yourself. Like say like, okay, I finished like if I do this X, I'll go to the gym, work out, and then I'll treat myself to dinner, right? And it's like just being able to schedule yourself and maintain that like motivation is really important as well.
That's a nice, succinct answer, Bennett. So here you are, you're almost done with your first year. And looking back, I remember we just had a mentor night on Friday, and you found out you got into Georgetown right before you came to a mentor night. And so I remember
Yes.
you letting me know, and that was really exciting. So like a year, over a year has passed since that time. Like you've got students in this classroom right now. It's a middle school L&L class. But like from the early part, you were talking about the things that you felt really helped you, the immersion that sort of separated you, the college class piece, the, leaving campus. What are some things that you would say like they should really embrace in high school? Or rededicate, like, is there something that you looking back,
No,
like I could have been stronger here, or I'm good?
involved like it's like certain types of involvement. I feel like we learn a lot of like very strong skills at school that are very like that like have translate that like I excel in versus a lot of people. But it's also like be a part of a sports team. Like which I didn't have as much in high school, right? Be a part of groups that are like not necessarily academic. Be a part of like a club outside of school. If you're into books, go to a book club. If you're like soccer, join the soccer team, right? Um, build it's like it especially like what I'm learning here is it's like okay, I have my friend. I guess like a comparison would be at USL, right? Everyone's really close friends, in a way. I think that's great, but it's also having friends outside of school, right? I have friends outside of my friend group that a lot of people don't know as well that I am able to hang out with and talk to about things, right? So it's having just like people in your back pocket, right? Being able to like talk to someone about something or find people that are your same interests. So I think that's something I should have worked on in high school, but I think I've been able to figure that out here, which is nice.
That's an adult thing.
Hmm. Very
It's
much,
finding out
very
that
much.
if you have more than one area of life that you're working on, that if one is like hectic or busy or sad or whatever, that you have other ones.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and I think about the jobs you had, there weren't a lot of young people except like your summer internships in like DC, that there were other people with you. But like, I think that's good, valuable advice. Tomorrow or on Thursday, we're sharing like uh, different things that have, like one big thing has changed since you were here, which is the state now allows our students to play sports whatever school there's. Unfortunately, Grady plays
Right.
tennis, yeah, for the local school. So there's a lot of options to balance it out. And I think that the work culture, not to knock you, but is even stronger now among the high school, where having jobs in high school enables you to meet a lot of other people your age
Yeah,
too.
it
You've
does.
always had good balance because at the beginning you were talking about the clubs you belong to, and they're a pretty eclectic group, Bennett, because you're an interesting
Mhm.
person. So thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting, that new rule. I like that. I mean, I wasn't able to play soccer for Wando, so and that kind of disheveled my whole thing. So that's really great that they involve that actually.
Yeah,
People can
that
play.
happened last summer.
That's
Well,
great.
you'll come by and visit us in a month when you get back, right?
Yeah, I'll come by. I'll come by.
Well, like
For
6 weeks
I'll
more.
definitely be here for graduation. What day is that?
It's like the 21st. It's that
Oh,
Monday before Memorial Day.
perfect. I apparently now have jury duty on the 27th, so that's fun. Gonna
We know
finish
you'll do
that
your civic duty.
application. Yeah. I'm yeah, that's my afternoon. So that's
There you
fun.
go. Well,
Awesome. Well,
thank
it
you
was
for
great
being
to
with
see
us.
everybody.
Yes,
Have a
enjoy your
great
class.
afternoon.
We'll see you later on.
Yeah.
Bye, Bennett.
Right. Goodbye.
See ya.